Level 0. You live near a hillside. It's never moved, not in your lifetime. There's a park on the slope, a few benches, some houses, one narrow road winding up. Everything looks permanent, but permanent is just a pause in motion. Underneath the roots and rocks, the hill isn't dead. It's dormant. Gravity is always acting on it, always pulling, and the ground resists, for now. That resistance comes from vegetation, friction, soil cohesion, and bedrock strength. But all of those things can change. When? After a long drought, or a single storm, or a construction project that cuts too deep into a hillside's base. The slope can hold for centuries until it doesn't. At level 0, nothing is falling, but everything is quietly poised to. This is the starting line. Level 1. At first, you don't even know it's happening. A fence post in your backyard leans a little more every spring. A path that used to be level now slants slightly downhill. The trees don't stand upright anymore. They curve gently upslope like they're resisting a tug. This isn't damage, it's movement. Soil creep is the slowest form of mass movement known to geology, and it's happening all around us. What causes it? Seasonal cycles, freeze-thaw, wet-dry. Burrowing animals, rain that infiltrates and lubricates clay-rich soils. Even the weight of someone walking a trail. The top few inches of soil begin to shift, imperceptibly, sliding millimeters downhill each year. And over decades, driveways split, foundations twist, roads become rippled ribbons of asphalt. Engineers study it, surveyors map it, but most people just repair it, again and again, without ever knowing what they're up against. This is level 1. It won't kill you, but it will quietly dismantle everything you build. Level 2. The air is humid. The rain has been coming down for days, soaking the hillside. What once was solid has turned soft. You walk along a ridge trail. At first, everything seems fine, but then you notice it, a stretch of slope where the trees are tilted like dominoes. The ground is cracked, water seeps through a fresh scar in the earth. Then the land begins to move, not suddenly, not violently, but inevitably. The entire hillside begins to flow. This is an earth flow, a thick, cohesive mass of water-saturated soil oozing like toothpaste down a slope. It doesn't roar, it murmurs. But it's heavy. A single cubic meter of wet clay can weigh over a ton. Now multiply that by thousands, tens of thousands, all in motion. A rural road buckles. A garage splits at the base. Livestock scatter from a pasture that no longer exists. Earth flows are common in areas with fine-grained soils, especially silts and clays that absorb water like sponges. You won't hear it coming, but when the ground you stand on turns liquid, there's nowhere left to stand. Level 3. Now the slope is steeper, more exposed, forested once, but the trees are gone, cut down for lumber or cleared for a housing development that hugs the hill like it trusts it. Rain falls again, but this time it doesn't just soak the slope, it triggers it. Suddenly, the entire surface layer, soil, roots, boulders, vegetation, breaks free. This is a debris slide, and it doesn't wait. It shears off in seconds. Fast, shallow, brutal. Unlike an earth flow, this slide doesn't ooze, it collapses. Triggered by heavy rainfall or melting snow, debris slides usually occur on slopes between 25 degrees and 45 degrees, where gravity and saturation form the perfect partnership for failure. And once the material begins to move, it accelerates rapidly, 20, 30, sometimes over 50 kilometers per hour. It may be only a meter deep, but it doesn't need depth to destroy. It sweeps up trees, crushes fences, demolishes anything in its narrow but vicious path. One slope, one storm, one scar. That's all it takes. Level 4. You're hiking near cliffs. Granite spires rise above you, ancient, proud, cracked. The day is still, warm, but somewhere near the summit, a crack widens. Moisture from yesterday's rain seeped into the stone. Overnight, it froze, expanded, pressed the crack wider. Now the warmth releases it. A sharp crack. Then another. A split forms. A shadow shifts. Gravity grabs hold. And a rock falls. Not one, dozens. It starts as a single boulder, but the impact dislodges more. The slope cascades in a roar of falling stone. This is a rockfall. Fast, sudden, often fatal. Boulders bounce with unpredictable violence. A 1-ton rock can travel hundreds of meters downslope, gaining speed, splitting, ricocheting. There's no warning, no time to dodge. A single fragment can kill. A full collapse can bury an entire road. Rockfalls are most common on steep, fractured cliffs, especially after freeze-thaw cycles or earthquakes. Helmets don't help, neither do prayers. You avoid them only by staying far, far away. Level 5. Now you're on a bluff overlooking the ocean. The view is perfect, the breeze gentle, but the slope feels off. The hill curves inward. The road has subtle waves like it's been warped. The retaining wall at the bottom is bowed, pushed forward by something invisible. This is a rotational slide, also called a slump, the slow collapse of a deep mass of soil or rock along a curved concave surface. It happens when the base of a slope becomes too weak to support the weight above it. The ground cracks at the top, then rotates backward as the mass slumps forward, bulging outward at the base. From above, it looks like the earth is folding itself inward. Slumps often occur after long-term rainfall infiltrates through soft sediments, or when human excavation undercuts a slope's base. They're common in coastal areas, river valleys, and places where deep clay layers sit atop slicker materials like shale or wet sand. And they can be huge. Entire neighborhoods, homes, roads, infrastructure have been torn apart by slumps that move tens of meters in days. It's not dramatic like a rockfall. It's slower, more deceptive, but once a slump starts, there's no stopping it, only documenting it. Level 6. It looks like a dream neighborhood. New homes clinging to the slope, driveways freshly paved, lawns green and geometric. But the hill is whispering a truth no one hears. Beneath the topsoil lies something treacherous. A thin layer of clay, slick with groundwater. The surface above it? Heavy, saturated from months of rain. Then, one night, in silence, the slope lets go, but it doesn't collapse in chunks. It slides. The entire hillside glides forward like a drawer pulled from a cabinet, neatly, powerfully, completely. This is a translational slide, a landslide where a large coherent slab of earth or rock detaches along a flat or gently dipping surface and shifts downhill as one unit. This type of movement isn't chaotic at first, it's unsettlingly uniform. A retaining wall bows, a foundation cracks, a stretch of road breaks free, still painted, still intact, now tilted into nothing. You might not even notice at first, until entire properties are no longer where they were. Translational slides can be shallow or deep, but in both cases, the movement is fast, massive, and highly destructive. They often occur when a weak plane exists between layers of soil, such as wet clay or loose sand atop firmer ground. What makes this slide different is its scale. It can move hundreds of meters in minutes, and everything above that hidden slip surface, homes, trees, cars, comes with it. There are no survivors in the path, only relocation forced by gravity. This is level 6. No loud warning, no violent fall, just the earth, moving sideways with perfect, terrible grace. Level 7. The rain won't stop. It started as a drizzle, then turned to sheets, then buckets. The hills above town have been soaking for days. The creeks are brown, the soil is saturated. Then comes the snap, a deep, ripping sound from the ravine. You look uphill. It's not just water. It's a wall of mud, rock, logs, and rage. This is a debris flow, also called a mud flow, one of the fastest and deadliest types of landslides known to Earth. It moves like a flood, but it isn't liquid. It's earth in liquefied disguise. Dense enough to carry entire trees, powerful enough to shatter homes, fast enough to outrun a car. Down it comes, funneled through gullies and creek beds like a missile. Roads vanish, bridges fold. A parked bus is carried away like a toy. This kind of landslide often occurs in areas with steep slopes, loose surface material, and little vegetation. Wildfire-scorched hills are especially vulnerable. With soil baked into a hydrophobic shell, water runs off instead of soaking in, gathering speed and sediment. Within minutes, a hillside becomes a killing field. People downstream don't hear it coming until it's too late. You'll see footage later, a brown torrent smashing through neighborhoods, slamming into concrete walls like thunder. Survivors cling to rooftops, others are never found. In places like Japan, Colombia, Indonesia, California, debris flows are annual fears. Not rare, not abstract, not gentle. This is level 7. When gravity doesn't just pull down, it throws down. Level 8. Real but location-specific and dependent on volcanic activity. The volcano is quiet. Steam rises from a snow-capped peak. A glacier sits heavy on its flank. Below, villages stretch across fertile valleys, used to the view, numbed by routine. Then the mountain shifts. An eruption, or just a violent melt triggered by geothermal heat, sends melted ice, volcanic ash, and loose debris tumbling downward in a churning gray flood. This is a lahar, a volcanic mudflow, part landslide, part pyroclastic memory. It's thick like concrete, fast like a flash flood, and it doesn't stop when it hits water. It becomes water, spreading outward with deadly weight. You hear stories about lava. But this buries towns faster than fire. Lahars can travel dozens of kilometers from their source, racing down river channels and valley floors. The 1985 Nevado del Ruiz disaster in Colombia killed over 23,000 people in minutes when a volcanic ice cap collapsed during a minor eruption. No lava reached the town, only mud and death. Mount Rainier in Washington state holds similar potential. It hasn't erupted in centuries, but its flanks are loaded with ice and unstable debris. In the right conditions, it could send lahars rolling into populated areas with little warning. Lahars aren't just landslides, they're extinction pulses, reminders that mountains don't need to explode to destroy. This is level 8, not theoretical, not rare, but geologic vengeance in fluid form. Level 9. Real, but largely hidden from public view. You stand on a beach, the tide is low, the air is calm. Miles offshore, the ocean looks empty, but deep below, the continental shelf is not at rest. Thousands of years of sediment have piled up along the underwater slope, unstable, compressed, waiting. Then something shifts, maybe an earthquake, maybe a pressure buildup from trapped gas, or maybe just time. A massive sheet of seafloor suddenly collapses. Hundreds of cubic kilometers of sediment cascade into the abyss. You don't see it, you don't hear it, but the ocean does. This is a submarine landslide, one of the most enormous underreported natural forces on Earth. These landslides have occurred across the globe. The Storegga slide off Norway 8,000 years ago triggered a tsunami that struck parts of Scotland. The 1998 Papua New Guinea slide generated a deadly wave that killed over 2,000 people. They don't happen often, but when they do, they unleash tsunamis without warning. There's no shaking on land, no volcanic explosion, just a wave. Satellites monitor these slopes now, but there is no easy fix for hundreds of kilometers of unstable mud beneath the sea. What sinks in silence may rise in force. This is level 9, hidden, immense, a reminder that Earth doesn't only move above sea level. Level 10. This is based on scientific models, not observed in recorded history. You're watching the ocean. It's calm, quiet. Then the sky changes. It isn't a storm, it's the collapse of an island. In the Canary Islands, on La Palma, scientists have studied a volcanic flank known as Cumbre Vieja. One day, perhaps after a large eruption, part of this mountain could fracture and slide into the Atlantic Ocean. A block of land the size of Manhattan, into the sea. And what follows? A wave, not a ripple, not a surge. A mega tsunami, hundreds of meters high near the impact zone, still dozens of meters tall by the time it crosses the ocean. It reaches West Africa in an hour, Southern Europe in 2, and the eastern seaboard of North America in 6 to 8. New York, Boston, Miami, all underwater, not from climate change, but from one landslide, hours away. This is not science fiction. Computer models run by USGS and international researchers have shown the possibility, a low-frequency, high-impact event that could reshape global coastlines and economies in a single afternoon. But it's never happened in our recorded past. The Lituya Bay event in Alaska in 1958 is the closest example. A landslide dropped into a fjord, displacing so much water it created a wave 500 meters high, the tallest ever recorded. Fortunately, it was in a remote bay. But if something like that happened in the open ocean, that's level 10. A planet-sized slap of gravity and displacement. The scariest part? There might not be time to warn anyone. A wave that size crosses oceans faster than evacuation orders can be issued. Most people wouldn't know what hit them, only that it came from the sea and kept coming. This is level 10, not the most likely disaster, but the most devastating if it ever occurs. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.